Hello friends, welcome to this video session on Bama KARUKKU, the explanations of the Chapter 7. This is the continued part of my video, Part 2, on the Chapter 7 of KARUKKU, the autobiographical novel written by Bama. This is also part of the discussion of the paper, Compulsory Foundation Course in English, the English language paper for 4th semester BCA and BSc in Mangalore University. Welcome to this video session. In the last video which preceded this, we had made a discussion of Chinnamalai festival, how Chinnamalai festival represent the religious participation and practices there in Bama's village. And this chapter, this part of the Chapter 7 is going to introduce us how the celebration of Easter is another important festival among people lived in her village. She opens with how they celebrated Easter in a very grand manner. They initially went house to house for collecting. They made a house-to-house collection from the Dalit Christians for the festival procession with the drums. You see, to do processions, the expenses of the processions were therefore contributed by every house. They used to do the procession with drums, preceded by a day-long service on Good Friday, and thereafter it was obligatory to attend the Good Friday service. And when Bama was in primary school in the convent, like Bama, all the people in the village used to attend that Good Friday service. It was obligatory and part of that ritual. In the Good Friday service, one teacher would read out prayers from a book in a monotonous tone, which would send the children to sleep. Look at the way Bama makes a critique of those events. She's not happy at the sham and pretense, as she mentioned somewhere in one of the chapters, and that has made her wear a spectacle of very rational or critical outlook. So she therefore comments that prayer made children feel like sleepy. But they could not drop off to sleep quietly because of the vigilance of the sisters. There were sisters who watched them, and if they slept, they were punished for that probably. Therefore, children had to be very alert and they couldn't sleep. Mama mentions here sometimes even the sisters themselves would nod off. They also feel like sleepy, but could not go and hit them. But could we go and hit them or pinch them? Yeah, that is the thing they were doing to the children, right? They come and hit them or even pinch them for sleeping in the service sessions. But children, sisters themselves sometimes, went for dozing off. Were they not off? Were they given that punishment the way they treated the children? That's the question she raises here. So there are some individual instances, as I told you, and through all that she takes an opportunity to criticize the way people behaved towards them then. Girls would wear good clothes and put flowers in their hair to the midnight Easter service. That was the thing they did afterwards. And the procession was held outdoors in front of the church during that occasion. And all would fall asleep in the cool breeze of the neem trees. There were neem trees surrounding. We came to know that there were neem trees, and they used to fetch even neem leaves to home, get some neem leaves to home because they believed them as holy and pure. And similarly, we see here, because of the presence of the neem trees, there was a cool breeze and they used to sleep. At midnight, when Jesus rose from the dead, the sisters would wake them up and wake everyone up, beating them with the mats they sat on. That's how the sisters used to wake the children up. The children went to church that day, and there was a ritual of raising the Jesus from the dead. That was a practice, and at that time children were made to wake up then by using mats to get them up. So all the bells would ring out. Then during the procession, a teacher would run up and remove the white cloth covering the risen Christ icon all the time. These are the religious practices that Bama observed at church, and she remembered that and she recalls them through this novel. Therefore, it's an experience of a Dalit Christian woman also, because not just a Dalit woman or not just a woman, but Dalit Christian woman. The reason is that you see so many elements of Christian religion where these Dalit community people participated is documented throughout the novel. Jesus would stand before them after that uncovering of the cloth and rising from the dead. That was the belief, that was the thing they witnessed. As all the bells sounded and the risen Christ was revealed, felt thrilling as it seemed to me that God had truly appeared to us before us from heaven. So here in this point, I think you can see her belief in the system, or her dedication or devotion to that faith can be observed, that she was able to see the very presence of that God before her in that particular activity. Then you see during the passage, children were asked to light their candles, and some of them even they used to light their candles or to blow them out at various times, right? They were even blowing them out at various times. That was the thing. And Bama, however, wanted to keep her candle alight. She was not ready to blow them, but it was not possible, right? It was not possible because they were not allowed to keep it alight. They had to blow the candles. During the service, the priest carried his own big Easter candles. So you can also see the priest also carrying Easter candles during the service. And no sooner was the service over that everyone rushed forward. You can see the sentence, no sooner did something happen and everybody did something, right? No sooner I entered the station, the train station, the train left the station. So example, you can see combining the sentence using no sooner. I entered the station, the train left the station. There are two sentences, simple sentences. You can combine them using no sooner to make a compound sentence by making no sooner did I enter the station, the train left. Right. Similarly, you can see here, no sooner was the service over than everyone rushed forward carrying spoons and vessels to scoop some of the new fire and the holy water as best as they could, and then return home. Collecting that holy water, drinking that holy water, they would return home after that observations or celebrations. They had to drink the holy water at home with great devotion, and sprinkle the rest in different places throughout the house. That was the thing. And they would place the new fire in the hearth, the chulha or the fireplace, which they used to light the stove the following morning to make their breakfast idlis, right? That's how you see the people followed the rituals after the celebration of Easter. Throughout that day, they would cook and eat good meals. Yeah, it was a festive season, right? What else that we do during festivals? We all celebrate any festival in any religion for that matter with all festivity, preparing good meal, wearing good clothes, new clothes. That's the way we all enjoy those moments of festival. And it is national festivals which we celebrate across the country, irrespective of religion. Similarly, religious festivals are also selected within the religious communities in that matter in India, right? That is which adds unity in diversity to the nation, isn't it? So then, throughout that day, they would cook and eat good meals. Therefore, in the evening, they would set off from the streets, clapping their hands and beating drums all the way to church where there was a benediction. That's the way they participated in the evening activity at the church also. After that, old women would gather in a circle, dance kummi. They dance that kind of dance and singing a hymn heralding the arrival of Jesus. They used to sing a hymn of heralding, that announcing the arrival of Jesus in a chariot, right? That was the next activity people or women particularly used to do. It was very fun thing to watch, and the men also at that time would play kabaddi, and it was again another thing to get entertainment. In the evening, the icon of risen Lord would be placed in a chariot. Dear students, you can observe the way how closely Bama, documents the entire ritual practices at the church. Recollect all those past incidents or memories as part of her chapter. So here you can see the way narration discloses experience she underwent as a Christian, right? That is clear to us. It would be decorated, blessed by the priest, and taken in procession through the village. Yeah, the icon of the Lord, risen Lord, would be placed in a chariot, and they would bring it in the procession through the village. That is what Saparam procession mentioned in the last video, right? Then it was followed by people singing hymns and chanting prayers. Only then was the Easter was over. That's how the celebration of Easter was made, and Bama became aware of the importance of everything as she left home and realized its significance. Right? It is true, dear students, that anything which is with us do not get that much value. In the absence of something, we find the value of it and we realize the value of that. That is true in this case also. When Bama had to stay away from her home, she missed all those practices, right? There she realized the significance of those events. For some reason, the Nadar community never joined Bama's people in the celebrations, nor did they continue. So you see, even community-wise, differences there existed in the celebration of the festival also. The Nadars, for example, here, they did not join Bama's community for the celebration. That's another thing she observed and documents in the novel. Bama observes here that when the procession passed the streets, they only peeped at it as the Hindus did and stayed inside their houses. They never joined in the Dalit celebration. So see the way, even among the Christian communities belonging to different community like the Nadar, they did not have unity, right? The Dalit Christians were separated, were treated as separate sect or community even among them. That is what Bama is trying to rise here by giving the example of the Nadar. That's why she documents that difference, and in a way she puts a question for us how or why this was there in that practice where we are supposed to see equality. Then Bama recounts the celebration of Christmas after that. It was over in the midnight mass. Now she collects after the celebration of Easter. Next discussion is of Christmas, right? The festivals are celebrated in this way. The Christmas was over. You can see here that the Christmas was over at the end of the midnight mass, right? Then she would find it very hard to keep awake because it was midnight, right? Midnight mass after gathering. Mass means gathering. So then it was hard for her to keep herself awake up and go to the service in that midnight. She would think, why did Jesus chose to be born at midnight out and even rise from the dead at that time? This is somewhere looks very irrational also. But on the other hand, is a kind of logical and rational question on the concept, because they were forced to or compelled to do certain things. That's why this question came in her mind, it seems. But anyhow, she has a kind of critical outlook at the practices there instead of the God or even the scriptures. She never had any resentment with the principles of Jesus. She never had disagreement with the principles of the Bible. But the people who implemented that is the question that she used to, she has been raising question on that throughout the novel. And finally, we can see, however, she liked that they were given new clothes at Christmas, but not at Easter. She liked Christmas because they were given the new clothes. Because new clothes was a rare thing to have, and it was given then. She liked Christmas for that matter. And finally, Christmas ended with a customary festive meal of beef. That's how they did in the Christmas. And the third festival that she takes up for discussion is the celebration of New Year Day. How was New Year Day? It's the same pattern. New Year Day was also celebrated in the same pattern. It followed the same pattern of celebration. But the celebration of these festivals has changed over the years. That she documents here very clearly. Even it is true in our case also. Our own festivals, maybe for example Deepavali in Hindu festival, or even other religious festivals among other religions also, they had certain practices, certain kind of festivities earlier. There used to be joint families and they celebrated in a different way. But nowadays, in the changed scenario of today's nuclear families, festivals are simplified and celebrated in a simple way rather than with that kind of grand celebration. So Bama points out that also here that the celebration of festivals has changed over the years, and but it is in keeping with the, it's keep on changing with the changing times, right? That of course we see as time changes in the practice, changes in the outlook in our own system is needed, in fact. Otherwise, it's difficult to lead life. She observes the sisters and the priests do not say what needs to be said, but only speak words that are irrelevant, meaningless, mumbo jumbo that she mentions here. That's another thing she takes up for discussion and criticizes, that they do not say what needs to be done, what is the need of the hour, that they don't speak of that. In a way, she sounds that they don't even know what needs to be done, like that, right? Thus, it made her think the celebrations have no significance because what passes for devotion nowadays is merely a matter of doing things out of a sense of duty. Two things you observe here. One is doing things because of sense of duty. There is one word in Kannada, ಕಾಟಾಚಾರ ಅಂತಾರೆ, ರೈಟ್? ಕಾಟಾಚಾರ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದರೆ ಒಂದು ಭೂತ ನಮಗೆ ಉಪದ್ರವವನ್ನು ಕೊಡ್ತಾ ಇರ್ತದೆ, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ವರ್ಷಕ್ಕೊಂದು ಹಾಕಿಬಿಡುವುದು, ರೈಟ್? ಕಾಟಾಚಾರಕ್ಕೆ ಮಾಡೋದು ಪದ್ಧತಿಗಾಗಿ. So that is not the way things are to be done, right? Not as sense of, part of duty ಅಲ್ಲ. So it should be done with love, it should be done with devotion. That is never done ಅನ್ನುವಂಥ ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆಯನ್ನು ಅವರು ಕೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಎರಡನೇದು, ಲಾಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆನ್ಸ್ ಫಾರ್ grand celebration. I mean processions ಇರ್ಬೋದು, ಲೈಟಿಂಗ್ಸ್, ಅದಕ್ಕಿಂತ ವಾಟ್ ರಿಚುವಲ್ಸ್ ನೀಡ್ಸ್ ಟು ಬಿ ಡನ್, ಡು ವಿ ರಿಯಲಿ ಎಂಫಸೈಸ್ ದೆಮ್ ಆರ್ ನಾಟ್ ಅನ್ನೋ ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆ ಕೂಡ ನಮಗೆ ಸಮ್ವಾಟ್ ರಿಲವೆಂಟ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ದಸ್ ಎನಿಹೌ ಟುವರ್ಡ್ಸ್ ದ ಎಂಡ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಚಾಪ್ಟರ್ she takes up the discussion of New Year celebration along with Christmas celebration and Easter in the Chapter-7. So thus we find in this part of the chapter, she reveals the grand celebration of Easter among Dalit Christians, and she recounts the days of Christmas and New Year's celebrations, the rituals followed and the people's participation in that celebration. It also adds to the rich cultural practices. Remember, that is the reason Bama takes up this. She is trying to build a Dalit identity here, the rich cultural practices followed by her community, Dalit Christians living in that village. Also, we find that the author attempts to construct this Dalit identity through this chapter by bringing in these issues, by focusing on the religious practices. She's trying to say how they had their own unique system to follow, right? That is what that is the purpose that Bama uses literature or karukku for that matter. Thank you for watching this video. We will discuss the rest of the part of the Chapter-7 in the next video. Thank you. See you.